I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and today I want to take you inside your own body to reveal the hidden signals your kidneys send long before complete failure strikes. Because here's the reality: more than 37 million Americans are living with chronic kidney disease right now, and millions don't even know it until it reaches the final stage. That's not just a number that could be you or someone you love sitting in a doctor's office being told dialysis is the only way forward. But there's good news. If you learn to recognize the early warning signs, you can step in before things spiral out of control. You can protect your kidneys, your heart, your brain, and even your independence. In this lesson, I'm going to walk you through the key symptoms you must never ignore, explain the science in a way that makes sense, and show you what's happening inside your body when those signals appear. Each sign is like a red flag, subtle at first, but screaming for attention once you know what to look for. So stay with me, because the very first symptom we're about to uncover might seem small, but it's often the earliest and most overlooked clue that your kidneys are in danger. And once you hear it, you'll never look at your daily routine the same way again. The very first signal your kidneys are in trouble often shows up in the bathroom. And no, it's not always dramatic pain. It's the subtle changes in how you pee. Imagine waking up 3 or 4 times a night just to use the restroom, or suddenly realizing you hardly go at all anymore. That's exactly what happened to Margaret, a 62-year-old retired teacher. She thought her late-night bathroom trips were just part of getting older, until tests revealed her kidneys were silently losing function. Here's the science: your kidneys are the body's filters. When they're healthy, they balance fluids and waste, producing a steady, normal urine output. But when kidney damage begins, 2 things can happen. In early stages, you may actually produce more urine than usual because your kidneys can't concentrate it properly. Later, as the damage worsens, the opposite occurs. Urine output drops and toxins start building up inside your blood. You might even notice foamy urine, which signals protein leakage, or pinkish streaks that mean blood has slipped through the filter, a red flag doctors call hematuria. And this is the danger: so many people dismiss these signs, chalking them up to aging, dehydration, or stress. But studies show that persistent urinary changes can appear years before full kidney failure sets in. Recognizing them early can literally save you from dialysis down the road. But just knowing this first warning isn't enough, because there's another sign that doesn't show up in the bathroom at all. It shows up in your legs, and it can be even more alarming. If changes in urination are the whispers of kidney disease, swelling in your legs is when the body starts shouting. Picture this: Robert, a 58-year-old carpenter, noticed his socks leaving deep marks around his ankles every night. He shrugged it off as just working on his feet too long. But what he didn't realize was that his kidneys weren't clearing fluid the way they should. That extra water was slipping out of his blood vessels and flooding into the tissues of his legs. Medically, this is called edema, and it's not just harmless puffiness. When the kidneys can't get rid of excess salt and water, your blood volume rises, pressure builds, and that extra fluid settles in your lower limbs, especially after sitting or standing. In more severe cases, pressing your finger into the swollen area leaves a pit that stays for seconds, something doctors call pitting edema. Another culprit is nephrotic syndrome, where your kidneys lose too much albumin, the main protein that normally keeps fluid inside your blood vessels. Without albumin, the fluid has nowhere to stay but under your skin. And here's the scary truth: edema isn't just cosmetic swelling. It's a warning that your heart, lungs, and kidneys are struggling under the weight of fluid overload. Left ignored, it can progress to breathlessness, chest pain, and a dangerous spiral of high blood pressure. But only spotting swelling won't save you, because the pressure inside your vessels keeps climbing, and the next hidden sign can silently drive your blood pressure to dangerous levels without you even feeling it. If swelling in the legs is the warning light on the outside, high blood pressure is the storm brewing on the inside. Take Linda, a 64-year-old grandmother. She was shocked when her doctor told her she had stage 2 hypertension because she felt fine, no headaches, no dizziness. What she didn't realize was that her kidneys were quietly struggling, holding on to salt and water, and every heartbeat was pushing against a river of excess fluid. Here's why this matters: your kidneys and blood pressure are locked in a 2-way relationship. Healthy kidneys release hormones that help regulate pressure, but when they're damaged, they can't balance fluid or sodium properly. That extra volume in your bloodstream forces your heart to pump harder, driving your blood pressure up. Studies from the American Heart Association show that uncontrolled hypertension is both a cause and a consequence of chronic kidney disease, creating a vicious cycle that silently destroys both your kidneys and your heart. And the scariest part, high blood pressure is called the silent killer for a reason. Nearly half of adults with elevated blood pressure don't even know they have it until complications strike, like heart failure, stroke, or sudden kidney collapse. This is why doctors stress the importance of regular blood pressure checks, especially if you're over 50 or already experiencing swelling or urinary changes. But hypertension doesn't always stay hidden in your arteries. When the pressure builds too high, the fluid can even spill into your chest, making it harder to breathe. And that's where the next symptom reveals itself. When high blood pressure keeps building, it doesn't just stay in your blood vessels, it spills over into your lungs. That's when shortness of breath becomes the next terrifying sign. Picture James, a 61-year-old bus driver. He noticed that climbing a single flight of stairs left him gasping for air. At first, he blamed it on being out of shape. But the truth was far more serious. His kidneys weren't moving fluid out of his body, and that extra liquid was leaking into his chest cavity. Here's the science: when the kidneys fail to remove enough water, fluid collects not only in the legs, but also in the thoracic space around the lungs. Doctors call this pulmonary congestion. It makes every breath harder because your lungs are literally being pressed by fluid they were never designed to hold. This same overload can also cause pressure around the heart, leading to chest pain or discomfort that often gets mistaken for angina. According to the National Kidney Foundation, shortness of breath is one of the most common and overlooked symptoms of advanced kidney disease, yet many patients don't connect it to their kidneys at all. And here's what makes it even more dangerous: people often brush it off as aging lungs, asthma, or just poor fitness. But if you ignore it, that fluid can keep rising until it triggers heart failure or a full-blown emergency. But chest tightness and breathlessness aren't the only ways kidney toxins disrupt your life. Sometimes the damage shows up at night, robbing you of rest, leaving you tossing and turning when your body needs healing the most. When kidney disease advances, it doesn't just drain your body, it steals your nights too. Think of Maria, a 59-year-old nurse who worked night shifts for decades. Even after she retired, she found herself lying awake at 2 a.m., restless, unable to fall asleep. And during the day, she felt like she was dragging a 50-pound weight everywhere she went. What she didn't know was that her kidneys were no longer clearing toxins effectively. Those toxins were circulating in her bloodstream, overstimulating her nerves, and keeping her brain wired when it should be resting. Here's the science: the kidneys normally filter waste, like urea and creatinine. When they fail, these chemicals build up, causing insomnia, restless legs, and constant nighttime awakenings. The same toxins also lower oxygen delivery to the brain and muscles, leading to relentless daytime fatigue. To make matters worse, kidney disease often causes anemia because damaged kidneys produce less erythropoietin, the hormone that tells your bone marrow to make red blood cells. Without enough red cells, your body can't carry oxygen efficiently. That's why so many patients describe feeling tired in their bones, no matter how long they sleep. According to the National Institutes of Health, anemia and sleep disturbances together affect over 70% of people with chronic kidney disease. And here's what's really dangerous: fatigue becomes the new normal. People convince themselves it's just aging, but in reality, it's a red flag that the kidneys are struggling and the blood isn't carrying enough oxygen. But constant exhaustion isn't the only hidden toll. Sometimes the problem strikes, suddenly showing up as painful muscle twitches or spasms that seem to come out of nowhere, and that's the next warning sign you can't afford to ignore. Sometimes kidney disease makes itself known, not with swelling or fatigue, but with sudden jolts your body can't control. Picture Daniel, a 55-year-old office worker. One night while typing on his laptop, his fingers began twitching on their own. Later that week, his calves cramped so hard in bed that he bolted upright in pain. He thought it was dehydration, but the real cause was hidden deep inside his kidneys. Here's the science: your kidneys are master regulators of electrolytes, minerals like calcium, potassium, and phosphate. When they fail, this delicate balance collapses. Low calcium and high phosphate are especially dangerous, disrupting the way your nerves and muscles communicate. That's why patients often report tingling, twitching, or sudden spasms, even without exercise. Research from the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology shows that these electrolyte imbalances not only cause painful muscle problems, but also increase the risk of dangerous heart rhythm disturbances. And here's the trap: because muscle cramps are so common, people brush them off as stress, poor sleep, or not drinking enough water. But if they're frequent and unexplained, they could be an early sign your kidneys are no longer keeping your electrolytes in check. But even twitching muscles are just one piece of the puzzle. Sometimes the damage goes deeper, showing up in your blood itself, silently draining your body of oxygen and leaving you vulnerable in ways most people never realize. While muscle spasms grab your attention, suddenly anemia creeps in, quietly draining your energy day after day. Imagine Susan, a 67-year-old retired librarian. She loved reading to her grandchildren, but lately she couldn't get through a single story without feeling out of breath and weak. She assumed it was just age catching up until her blood work revealed her kidneys had stopped producing enough of a critical hormone. Here's the science: healthy kidneys make erythropoietin, or EPO, which tells your bone marrow to produce red blood cells. These cells carry oxygen to every organ. But when kidneys are damaged, EPO production plummets. Fewer red blood cells mean less oxygen transport, which explains why patients with kidney disease often feel exhausted, lightheaded, or short of breath. Studies published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases show that anemia affects more than 2/3 of people with advanced kidney disease, and untreated it accelerates heart problems and worsens survival rates. And here's the problem. Fatigue from anemia is often mistaken for simply getting older. People ignore it, push through the tiredness, and never realize it's a medical warning sign. By the time anemia is severe, the damage may already be deep. But anemia is just one toxic outcome of failing kidneys. When waste products like urea start flooding the blood, they can trigger even more dangerous complications, attacking not just your energy, but your brain, your heart, and even your skin. If anemia quietly drains your oxygen, uremia is the full-blown toxin storm that poisons everything. Think of Harold, a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran. He began noticing constant nausea, an odd metallic taste in his mouth, and an unbearable itch across his arms and back. At first, he thought it was just allergies or bad digestion. But when he grew confused one evening, forgetting his own daughter's birthday, his family rushed him to the ER, where doctors revealed dangerously high levels of urea had built up in his blood. Here's the science: when proteins break down in your body, they create urea, a waste product your kidneys normally filter out. But when kidneys fail, urea and other toxins accumulate, causing a condition called uremia. This isn't just about feeling off. Uremia can inflame the sac around the heart, a condition known as uremic pericarditis, leading to sharp chest pain. It can also invade the brain, causing uremic encephalopathy, confusion, delirium, even tremor-like flapping of the hands called asterixis. Research from the National Kidney Foundation shows uremia is one of the strongest predictors of hospitalization and death in kidney patients because it attacks multiple organs at once. And it doesn't stop there. Uremia can also cause relentless itching, vomiting, appetite loss, and dramatic weight decline. People often scratch themselves raw, thinking it's just dry skin, never realizing it's a red flag screaming from inside their blood. But even as toxins build up, they unleash one more silent weapon, attacking your blood's ability to clot. And that's where the next warning sign becomes truly life-threatening. If uremia floods your body with toxins, platelet dysfunction is when those toxins turn your own blood against you. Meet Evelyn, a 63-year-old florist who loved arranging bouquets. One morning, she noticed her gums bleeding after brushing her teeth, something she had never experienced before. Later that week, a small bump on her arm left a dark bruise the size of a quarter. She dismissed it as fragile skin with age, but the truth was far more dangerous. Her kidneys had sabotaged her blood's ability to clot. Here's the science. Your platelets are tiny cell fragments that stop bleeding when you're cut. In kidney failure, toxins like urea interfere with how platelets stick together. So even if your platelet count looks normal on paper, they don't work properly. Doctors call this platelet dysfunction. That's why kidney patients often experience gum bleeding, frequent nosebleeds, or tiny red and purple spots on the skin known as petechiae and purpura. The Journal of Nephrology reports that this dysfunction significantly raises the risk of excessive bleeding during surgery, childbirth, or even from minor injuries. And here's the real danger. People often mistake these signs for dental problems or simple clumsiness, never realizing it's their kidneys crying out. Left untreated, platelet dysfunction can lead to life-threatening hemorrhage, especially in emergencies where every drop of blood counts. But even bleeding isn't the final warning. There's one last signal, subtle yet decisive, that often determines whether a patient can still fight back or whether dialysis becomes the only option. And that's what you absolutely need to hear before this video ends. So if you've recognized even one of these signs, whether it's swelling in your legs, constant fatigue, or unexplained changes in urination, please remember this: you are not alone, and it is never too late to take action. Every small step you take today, from monitoring your blood pressure to talking with your doctor about lab tests, could protect your kidneys for years to come. That's why I encourage you to save this video so you can revisit the information anytime you need it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you'll get the latest medical insights and practical tips to safeguard your kidneys and your overall health knowledge that could make a real difference for you or someone you love. And here's the hopeful truth: kidney disease doesn't have to define your future. With awareness, timely choices, and consistent care, you can slow it down, protect your independence, and keep enjoying the life you've built. Stay strong, stay informed, and never forget your health is worth fighting for.